is the very first picture sent across the ocean by communication satellite. How had it happened? It had been accomplished in the tradition of free enterprise. Altogether, some 800 companies were involved in manufacturing the more than 10,000 component parts that somehow, incredibly, are packed into less than a yard of diameter. Telstar was built and paid for by the American Telephone and Telegraph Company. And the launching was accomplished at Cape Canaveral by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Mr. Capel, head of the company which built Telstar, looked on in shirt sleeves and sweated out the launch with everyone else.
July the 10th, 1962, history was written. Telstar was found right where it was supposed to be. Bullseye.
The first signals sent to Telstar and relayed back to Earth were not television pictures, but a phone call. Mr. Capel in Andover called the Vice President of the United States, Lyndon Johnson, who was with a group of statesmen and legislators gathered for the historic moment. Speaking for his fellow citizens, Mr. Johnson tells Mr. Capel that he is
proud of this achievement, which is another first in our conquest of space.
Thanking the Vice President, Mr. Capel says that he is
pleased with this demonstration of cooperation between government and private industry.
A new era in the history of communications has begun.
History is about to be made in the science of communication among men. Technicians in Europe prepare to receive a signal from the orbiting Telstar satellite that opens this new era. This is the first formal exchange of an official transmission, a beaming of the presidential press conference to the continent where most of Europe can witness democracy at work. The president has these historic words.
I understand that part of today's press conference is being relayed by the Telstar communications satellite to viewers across the Atlantic, and this is another indication of the extraordinary world in which we live. This satellite must be high enough to carry messages from both sides of the world, which is, of course, a very essential requirement for peace. And I think this understanding, which will inevitably come from the speedier communications, is bound to increase the well-being and security of all people here and those across the oceans. So we're glad to participate in this operation developed by private industry, launched by government in admirable cooperation.
And more was soon to come. Relay, an active satellite like Telstar. Relay, developed by the Radio Corporation of America, is also an international cooperative venture with tracking stations on both sides of the Atlantic. Nor is this all. Watch as the camera in space photographs another kind of communication satellite, Echo 2. There, the deflated balloon is ejected from its capsule. It quickly inflates to 135 feet in diameter. Echo is a passive satellite. It does not amplify signals that are sent to it, but simply bounces them back to Earth. Still a different approach is SYNCOM, built by the Hughes Aircraft Company. Orbiting at a height of over 22,000 miles, it is in line of sight of so much of the world that only 3 satellites are required for continuous round-the-globe communication. Many times that number would be needed in the Telstar or relay systems. Which system will work best, only the future will tell. But Telstar has already lifted the veil from that future. It is more than a spectacular stunt. It is working.